Welcome to Isis in the Bible, the Winter Gathering, week number 9, Karma Between Us Two. The question for today is, if two people are involved in an accident, what should a third party do? If karma between two people is wanting to resolve, should anyone get involved? If so, what should they do? Should they engage, interfere, help resolve, deliver more karma? Should they be trained in understanding karma before engaging? Or if engaging at all, which most of the people here said. Most of the people said, well, why do we need to get involved? It's between those two parties, which is a really interesting concept because it is in the right way what we should be doing. But if that third party is coming in like they do every day, and when we judge, we are a third party. When we judge anything we see, which they want to put on the media all day long. Okay, before we get into the crux of that, I just want to remind everybody that Friday, the 14th, is the total lunar worm eclipse. Again, we talked about this, the alignment of this and the placement of this in the celestial sky is absolutely invigorating. It is part of the Phoenix rising. The moon is going to be aligned with the Great Sphinx. And then the sun is going to be aligned with the star of Pegasus, where our wings, we get our wings. Getting our wings is to understanding even this discussion that we're having today. It's important. We did make some notes in here that who's going to be actually seeing it in the sky, right? In the celestial sky that maps. So this is where it's happening in the physical. In the sky, it's happening on Alexandria. They will notice that at March 14th at 8:54 a.m. And then Anchorage, Alaska, we'll see it at 10:44 p.m. And again, remember that the north and the south node are that which eclipses the sun and the moon. All right. And the other big thing that's coming up, the milestone, is on March the 18th. March the 18th, Uranus moves into Taurus, the third time now. If you remember back from May 1940 to March 1941, there was all kinds of people that lost their homes. They were changing, getting new homes. Remember, Uranus is the womb. So when people leave the visible, they're going to get into a new womb. It's no different than getting a new roof over your head. You can leave a house and go into a new house. A lot of foreclosures being talked about again. Why? Because it has to do with Uranus, but it all depends on karma. Another example that Uranus is the roof of your head, the roof of your lungs. All plays a part. So at March 18th, again, the bull, Uranus goes into the bull, and it has to do with holding up other people's worlds in the metaphysical, in the spiritual. We have to help other people. And that's what the bull is. It's Juno's home, Mother Mary Magdalene. This is where women are going to go in and they're going to help things change to the matriarchal system and take down Babylon. So it's a milestone marker, and that's why the stock market has a bull in front of it, because things are going to happen. Okay, so let's talk about karma between two. I'm not sure if you heard of Jodi Arias and Travis Alexander. Travis Alexander was a 30-year-old motivational speaker and salesman, and he met Jodi Arias in 2006. He tragically left the visible on June the 4th, 2008 in Mesa, Arizona. His leaving the visible became widely known due to highly publicized trial of Jodi Arias, to which he met in 2006. She was the ex-girlfriend at the time, she was convicted for his leaving the vestibule. So here we have a situation. They recovered photographs from a damaged camera found at the scene, indicating that the last image of Alexander alive, taken in the shower, was time-stamped at 5:29 p.m. on that day. He left the visible a little bit later, and you can see how this happened in his chart. So in her chart, we don't go into great detail. Here's birthing, Mary Magdalene in retrograde, that's Juno. The bull is her home. Deep spiritual sign at that time. Chiron, the wounded healer, on the north and south node, which, by the way, I got an absolute sign to check north and south node on this chart, what it really means. So you can see Chiron, the wounded healer. So this is helping, the wounded healer part is understanding what this means, this message today. Destiny's gate was on Mercury. It was destiny. There's the memory, the karmic memory. That's Mercury, the scribe in the waters, on Sarah as the harvester. Who is in line with part of fortune? Destiny's gate's there. So it's all there in her chart, and you come over to his, and he's got this very similar alignments happening in his, but his had Mother Mary in eclipse position. So there's some love that needed to resolve. And his destiny was to have this, you can see Destiny's gate with the harvest. So he needed to do something in his lifetime. I'm sure he's been getting signs. And then he left the visible. When you look at the synastry chart between the two, this is what's really important. The moon on a natal black moon, giving a deep spiritual sign, and his Destiny's gate. This is all here, folks. So these two people were destined to resolve something. It didn't resolve the way it should have. She shouldn't have delivered his karma, but it's his karma. So now a third party comes in, and everybody around the world plays third party and says, yep, put her in jail. What did he do to her last life, or vice versa? We need to put people through therapy when this happens. There goes the vulture, by the way, represents death, just flew overhead. We have to not play third party and wish a judgment on either one of them. We need to teach them about karma. Because although we only see it in this life, don't judge. That's the hard part. You got to stay centered. So many of you are all saying that, well, I don't want to get involved. Well, that's a good thing. Perfect. The best way you can get involved is send them both love. Because these two have unfinished karma now. Both of them. And now somebody put her in jail, which is going to deliver karma to them. And then everybody that's thinking that she should go to jail, well, now you're passing judgment because you're not understanding what he did to her in a previous life, what she's doing to him, and so on and so forth in that karmic battle. Just like this one, people want investigations on what happened to Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa. They left the visible on Friday, February the 17th at their residence in Santa Fe, New Mexico. The couple, along with their dog, were discovered during a welfare check conducted by local authorities. All kinds of investigations people want. Why? Why? It's in their chart to go. We can only send them and their kids and grandkids love and share the wisdom. They use this pacemaker to know exactly when his heart had the last beat, so I got to go look at the chart. And it's all there, folks. It's absolutely there. Crazy there. There is Sarah as a harvester on his ascendant. There's the sun on Lilith, the temptress. And there's the scribe, Mercury, the Akashic records, the waters, the memories on his birth, the part of fortune that which shows up in birthing scenes. I can go more and more, but it's all there. Destiny's gate on his north-south node. Why do we want to investigate? Why do we want to play third party? Why do we want to know who's at fault? Right? Send them love, because when they return, hopefully everything's resolved. But he's 90-something years old. It's time for him to go. Time to go to the next womb. There goes that vulture again. Okay. Everything. So I'm going to get off of that topic now, but we're going to show more what's happening. We are the best healing machine that money can buy. So I had a friend going through this. Okay, he had all this. 3 years ago, he had all kinds of heart tests and everything else. Up until about a year and a half ago, when I convinced him that these are just waves. These are just waves of energy. For the past 9 months, I've been telling him these waves will subside. Within the last week, he was at wit's end with dizziness, heart palpitating, headaches, really bad shortness of breath. And then when he reached out that day, he really told me he's at wit's end at 1:30 p.m. I told him that same day, I said, listen, that was March the 5th. He's got 2 alignments, one on March the 5th and one on March 15th. And one of those 2 were causing it. And it could release that night. On that day, 7 p.m., he said his shortness of breath was gone completely by 6:40. His chart shows this amazing ending. So if he would have went to hospital, they would have injected when something, it would have went away. Thanks, doc. Now he wears a label. You got this wrong with you. You got that wrong with you. You got this wrong with you. You need to take these pills, those pills, those pills. You walk out of there with a label instead of knowing it's just a wave, a cleansing wave. He could have went into a harmonic egg and it would have went away. You know, said, I got to come back and use this harmonic egg. I'm going to buy one of those. I'm not saying that those things don't help with reducing the energies, but they don't heal you, because now he's working on his forgiveness process as well, because this goes way back. We don't get into detail. But right at the exact time, I can't tell you how many beautiful alignments were happening in his chart. All right, just beautiful alignments happening in his chart right at the moment that it released. All right. So I had seen that one was coming, and it did come. So again, if he goes into hospital, what's third party going to do? Make a judgment. There's something wrong with you. No, the only judgment is him on why he's experiencing this with shortness of breath. And I've helped him understand it, and he's doing the forgiveness process. All right. On a lighter note, when we do our good spiritual work, we get gifts, and that can happen at any time. So I thought, let me go check out James Redfield. James Redfield weaves a profound connection with spirit through his words, particularly in the Celestine Prophecy, where he illuminates the unseen forces guiding human evolution. His writings serve as a bridge between the material and spiritual realms, offering readers a pathway to heightened awareness and synchronicity. Through his narrative, he conveys that life is not random, but filled with meaningful encounters where energy flows between individuals in an unseen dance of growth and transformation. Redfield's insights encourage seekers to tune into intuition, recognize divine timing when 2 people get in an incident, and embrace a higher vibrational existence where love, consciousness, and spiritual evolution shape the journey of our soul. His North Node, which is the head, which is the top part of the Kundalini, that which eclipses the sun and the moon, the cobra, the head of the cobra coming out of the third eye, is aligned Mother Mary. And he has Mary Magdalene rising. There's a reason why he's so attuned, because he's, in previous lives, he's attached to the truth. And then it becomes evident, and those energies are prevalent in your next incarnation. So you can see how he gets the gift of seeing, because he's aligned. And there's so many other things I can talk about here, but I won't. It's just because I don't want to make you guys go to sleep. But anyway, we truly are divine beings, and we got to stop that judging third party concept. Somebody shared this, I don't remember who, but this was really cool. They show the brain as in the same shape as the fetus. Might be a little bit of a stretch, but it's truth to that, because what we imagine, we end up growing into in that womb. Thoughts evolve is what this image says. Right. We always project ourselves into the next womb, into the next situation, into the next house, whatever you want to call it. So it's really important that when Uranus now moves into Taurus, upholding other people's worlds. We got to think that way with our images. So the karma between us two, conveniently, this came out as SOP, and I left it because it's standard operating procedure. They should get out of the car if they're well trained and say, please forgive me, because the both of them will know that it's an old past energy that's trying to resolve between those two people. If a third party comes in, the only thing he should do is make sure that's resolved with this process. You could need to ask each other for forgiveness. That's it. That's all anyone could do. So you can do it from a distance. You just imagine them asking each other for forgiveness, and the community comes together and resolves their material world for them at no expense. And then, of course, Sue says today, right before at 1 o'clock today, she saw the image. She saw this image that we shared, and then this happened for her right in front of her eyes. And she did just that. She said, nobody's asking me for help. Nobody's asking me to be a witness, so I'm just going to stay out of it. Right. Like we discussed, she can imagine them both hugging, and there's the third party's not going to deliver any karma because that's just going to come onto the third party. We can't judge. These two are trying to resolve an old karma. Let them ask each other for forgiveness. So this kind of is part and parcel to it. Gadu Naganina is an old phrase from the indigenous that walk on these lands. When chiefs and tribes would come together, they'd say this to each other. It means one plate, one spoon, an unwritten constitution, and a trust agreement that we share the lands with each other. I'm not sure if they know this, but Naga, as we've been talking before, Naga is this, the serpent, when you understand how to control that snake, your energies. And Nina comes from like Nonna or Oma. That's the divine love. And like a Gadu, you can see God and good in there. So we have to understand, using our third eye and visualizing the whole grand scheme of things, that we need to come back to unify into one love and make sure we do things peacefully, and understand that when something wants to resolve in karma, let's not play that third party in a judgmental way. Instead, we need to help them resolve in a peaceful way. And that's all we have for today.